Hello, and welcome to Anoidos University Dissertation Defense Debates Online. I'm Dean Peglucci, and I'm sorry, I'm not the dean, all right? Dean Peglucci is Dean Peglucci. I'm Lori Smith, office assistant. I will be filling in for the dean and acting as moderator for this auspicious debate. The dean had what we call a beauty incident. You see, she tried to cut her. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I was thinking of my grandmother who is sick, like the dean. Dean Peglucci is quite ill, so I will moderate this debate. Let's introduce the Dissertation Defenders, a charming couple who have been researching their asses off. I mean that they are two scholars who have devoted countless hours reviewing primary and secondary sources. Only one will win the coveted position of teaching here at Anoidos University. But I mean, they're a couple, so they both win, no matter what. Am I right? I'm sorry. Their personal lives are irrelevant. We are here to analyze and assess their scholarly pursuits. So just below me in the window is Sophie Bryant. Sophie, go ahead and say hello.
Hi there, Lori. How are you? It's great to be here. Thank you so much for organizing this.
Well, Sophie, if I'm seeing this correctly, are you in a pantry?
Yes. I am in a pantry.
Why are you giving your PhD dissertation defense in a pantry?
Well, Lori, it's funny you ask. We live in a very small apartment, and there's only one desk, and I was gracious enough to offer that to my colleague here, Brian. So this is the other part of the house that gets internet.
Well, welcome, Sophie. Also with us today is Brian Smith, no relation. Brian, welcome.
Yeah, hi, Lori. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. In the spirit of disclosure and authenticity, I want you guys to know that I am wearing antiperspirant, but I'm not wearing underwear.
Yay! What is the topic guiding our scholarly rivalry? The inquiry on which futures will be won or lost? Here it is, folks. Applying for highly coveted jobs from a LinkedIn profile with false information. Is it ethical or not? We will now determine the first debater using our very highly academic methodology here. Brian, you are up first.
Thank you, Lori. Well, first, I do want to thank the university for organizing this process and having me on tonight's debate with this illustrious panel. LinkedIn. What is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a site founded by Abraham Lincoln in 1873. At that time, it was not the website we know it as today. It was a more literal site, plowed by horses and demarcated by chain links that would cage people in place. Prospectors would come from miles around to sleep in these cages and be shouted at by employers to learn Python. Python, of course, being a programming language popular with the rattlesnakes of the American West. As America evolved, so did LinkedIn, moving and reinventing itself to stay relevant in every age. In the 1920s, it became a complex tree of phone operators that would connect job applicants to brothels, hooscows, and poorhouses. In the 30s, it wound services down to a reversible wooden sign reading jobs. And it's on internet now. But through every LinkedIn epoch, there has been one constant: honest, salt-of-the-earth job seekers, communicating and connecting together and accurately representing themselves. And flash forward to 2020, there's a lot of competing options for your job site buck. ZipRecruiter, Monster, asking people on college campuses if they want to hold weight. There's so many options, one has to ask, why even use LinkedIn at all? I think I can shed some light on the answer to that. This is an image of my co-debaters. Oh, I'm sorry, no. This is an image of some independent research I was doing. Hang on. I don't know how that got in there either. Sorry. This is an image of my esteemed co-debater, Sophie, a veritable guided missile of debate. A woman we all know and love, me most of all, knew her, loved her. We dated for about 2 beautiful years. We shared one heart and one bed. And now we share just one unbreakable lease and 4 more months and still one bed for 4 months. But it's been good though. I like it here. And there's plenty of room in the bathtub. Anyway, among Sophie's many admirable qualities is focus, tenacity, the ability to wrap her mind around something, and her will, like an angry, tight fist, and just never let up, ever, or ever letting go, or allowing you to even ever have your own interests or your bank account or passwords or phone calls to the outside world. Did you know that with a sufficiently strong enough parental lock, you can prevent your roommate from accessing dating or social media websites, basically anything not related to work? Me neither. Sophie taught me that. So most of all, Sophie, what this relationship has taught me is why LinkedIn is still a competitor in 2020 for your job site buck. Why use LinkedIn in 2020? Because its robust chat suite and its seamless integration of your contacts make it the perfect place to discreetly hit on professional babes. I mean, look at this smoke show. Manager of digital marketing? More like managed to give me up those digits, queen. Hey, baby, if you're out there watching this stream, save me from all this. Or how about this absolute earth angel? Boom, dime piece. She could service my financials any day. And who could forget Craig? Beloved, cherished Craig. Why didn't it work out for us, Craigie? Perhaps we will in-mail in another life, sweet Craig. Anyway, the point is, in a situation where you're locked into a firewalled hovel with someone who used to love and now hates you, and you could use any romantic contact with the outside world, you could do worse than Craig. I mean, LinkedIn. But what breaks my heart the most is the idea of making a profile, right? Finding the right photo, crafting a bio just so, and then sending out requests, messages, patient, hopeful. And finally, you net one. They're a financial services manager, a branding consultant, a high-volume processing center analyst, an assessment specialist, an actuary. And you go through the whole hoopla of getting to know them, the exchange of niceties, the correspondence, the wondering, have I said too much? Do I have the right profile? And to sally forth until finally, you get to meet this person, to lay eyes on them, and you learn that they're not actually 6'4", or that their degree from the DeVry Institute is from the certificate program rather than an MBA. It's like, what was even the point of all that? What was it all for? How are you going to do me like that, Craig? Craig! Nevertheless, be it resolved in tonight's debate that authenticity is the best policy on LinkedIn. It's best for applicants, it's best for employers, and it's best for horny singles looking to hook up in your area. Lori?
Well, thank you, Brian. That was most illuminating. Dean Paglucci has asked me to remind you that you still haven't responded to her connection request yet. In the meantime, our next debater is Sophie. Sophie, step on up.
Thank you so much, Lori. I'm not quite sure how I'll follow that wonderful scholarly performance there, but I can't wait to dive in. So, Merriam-Webster defines ethical as conforming to accepted standards of conduct. In a rigorous interrogation of 1,252 LinkedIn users, some under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, and in 4 cases, Xanax, no fewer than 23.4% admitted to committing falsehoods, ranging from moderate to egregious, with no less than 10% attesting that their profiles were completely fake, from their legal names to their skill sets to, for reasons passing understanding, the actual job they were pursuing. So the majority of the completely false profile category described their reasons as A, quote, to get my bleeping parents off my back, to B, to just see how much I could get away with. As LinkedIn has more than 750,000 users and nearly 25% of them are lying, then lying on your LinkedIn profile is completely within Mr. Merriam-Webster's aforementioned accepted standards of conduct. Should we assume accepted as practiced by the equivalent of the population of Boulder, Colorado? And if the population of Boulder, Colorado can all agree on something, how can it be wrong? There's a law in Boulder that says you can't roll a boulder down the street, and is this not wisdom? Accepted practice is, admittedly, a relative term, and it's necessary to keep in mind the ecosystem of the accepted behavior. LinkedIn's ecosystem is vast. Any number of behaviors is, by percentage and practice, acceptable. A smaller ecosystem, such as, say, an apartment housing 2 people, follows different rules. If one of these 2 people does not accept the behavior of the other, then, well, that behavior is categorically unacceptable, as it is unacceptable to all others in the ecosystem. One of the 2 people inhabiting this theoretical 600 square foot apartment, after, say, having broken up with the other, ought not to remain in the apartment for 3 months. The we're just going to be roommates paradigm is unacceptable to the other, and in 3 months the guy who broke up with me should have scraped up enough money to find a new damn place to live. Unacceptable, and therefore unethical, becoming less and less ethical the more frequently I have to take his forgotten laundry out of the dryer. Ethical action is clearly, therefore, not in the intention, but in the effect. If the positive effect of the action, in this case, lying in one's LinkedIn profile, outweighs the negative effect of not lying on one's profile, then the lying is therefore justified and ethical. As we can see from this graph, the effect becomes more acceptable as well. As we see from this graph, as the effect becomes more acceptable, the behavior becomes more ethical. This graph, I should add, was printed out incorrectly by my esteemed colleague, who made the offer of the use of his colored printer under the guise of just taking a peek at my data. Under such egregiously unethical circumstances, unethical as bleep, the offender should not even be permitted to present a dissertation on ethics. But that's just me, apparently. So, yeah, whatever. Case study. Demonstrating the ethical effect of LinkedIn falsehoods. I created 2 LinkedIn profiles for an individual who we will call Brian. In his first profile, I described myself as him as a PhD candidate at Anoitos Online University, defending my dissertation in ethical philosophy. My resume was stellar, complete, and utterly factual. Applying to the over 8,000 universities on LinkedIn, the only available position returned was an adjunct online instructor at our own prestigious university, with a salary in the high 4 figures. But when the same applicant with the same credentials, Brian, added experience in scuba diving, arc welding, and a fluency in French, with no outreach at all, the number of job offers in 1 week spiked to 156. One of which was with Cirque du Soleil. And Montreal is a lovely city. So when the job was accepted, so that the offending party might move out of the apartment, one has served the common good and was therefore ethically justified. One may ask, when you show up in Montreal next Thursday, unable to weld or speak French or scuba dive, what happens? Humanity. That's what happens. A true human connection, not dictated by algorithms or the false dictates of internet acceptability. There you will be, in Canada, with people who will be happy to overlook the misunderstanding, train you up in a career that pays 6 figures, and you can start your new life far, far away. It is well known that Canadians are kind and forgiving and accepting and therefore ethical people. Might there be consequences to lying on LinkedIn? Of an ex-girlfriend fully falsifying her ex-boyfriend's life, for example? There might be. However, if there are consequences, they are consequences to an ethical action, and therefore unethical. And another thing, can we just get a little more human here? I mean, LinkedIn itself is unethical. Forcing programs and algorithms to measure one's work on the basis of who you know and what you've done before and what box you click. And can we all just be people for once in our lives? To strip us of our humanity and force us into snappy profile paragraphs and the number of recommendation requests we make, that is unethical. It is to ignore the human who needs the dishwasher emptied and the trash taken out without having to always ask. So, our conclusion then lands in a 2-question test of ethical conduct. Who would the action benefit? Who would it harm? If the first outweighs the second, as it will do in every case, by the mere numbers, well then, go bleeping nuts. LinkedIn is a program. It doesn't care. What matters is the benefit to living, breathing human people. And this is why false LinkedIn profiles are not unethical, but on the contrary, they force employers to hire and really get to know their new, yet wholly unprepared employee. A human and therefore ethical thing to, do. Please just go to Canada. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Wow, Sophie, you gave me a lot to think about, particularly about my own LinkedIn profile. I mean, maybe I can add a little bit of French to mine. I'm sorry, I'm getting a notification from Dean Paglucci that since Brian has accepted a job as an acrobatics handler and feeder at Cirque du Soleil, the job is yours.
Thank you so much. Oh, that means the world to me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Suck on that, Brian.
Yes, a happy ending for everybody here at Anoidos University. Yay! Be sure to check out our summer catalog where we are teaching interpretive basket weaving and Randy Newman on the kazoo. Thank you all for attending this wonderful online dissertation debate. I am Lori Smith, and we will see you soon. And there will be no more laughing in the future. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, no, I'm sorry. Do I know how to fix your bangs? Yes, ma'am, I'll try.